After the village of Semenovka completely came under the control of the Russian army, the Russian High Military Command decided not to give the enemy a break. In particular, the Russian army began to rapidly develop its success on the Semenovka-Berdychi Novobakhmutovka-Ocheretyno line. Constant pressure from the Russian troops led to the fact that the defense of the armed forces of Ukraine could not stand it, and the Ukrainian army began to surrender its positions also in other settlements of the Avdiivka direction of the front. According to war correspondents, over the past 48 hours, the situation of the armed forces of Ukraine has rapidly deteriorated in the village of Ocheretyno. As it turned out, the 115th Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which held the defense in this village, was completely defeated by Russian troops, and the remnants of this brigade were demoralized. Moreover, the commander of one of the companies of the Nationalist Brigade Magura, Nikolai Melnik, admitted that the Russian army managed to enter Ocheretyno as a result of the cowardly flight of Ukrainian soldiers from their positions. A high-ranking Ukrainian officer complains that now he and his fighters will have to plug holes in the defense and try to stop the advance of the Russian army in Ocheretyno. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian General Staff has already begun to make attempts to stabilize the situation in Ocheretyno, transferring its last reserves there. However, even experts from pro-Ukrainian Western analytical centers admit that the situation in Ocheretyno is close to critical, and that the Ukrainian army will most likely fail to hold this strategically important settlement. The fact that the Ukrainian army is in a desperate situation in Ocheretyno is also indicated by the desperate actions of the Ukrainian General Staff. In particular, General Sersky began to transfer detachments of the so-called Russian volunteer corps to this village, which was created by Western Special Services exclusively to commit sabotage actions on the territory of the Russian Federation. All this indicates that the Ukrainian army has almost completely exhausted its reserves, and is now forced to send into battle even such untouchable detachments that were created for completely different purposes. According to war correspondents, Russian troops have already managed to take control of the southern and central parts of the village of Ocheretyno. At the same time, Russian war correspondents again admitted that the armed forces of Ukraine do not experience any munition famine on the battlefield. According to them, the main problem of the Ukrainian army remains the shortage of manpower. Meanwhile, in the Krasny Lyman direction of the front, the Russian army shocked the armed forces of Ukraine with its new offensive tactics near the village of BELOGOROVKA. As it turned out, Russian troops for the first time used dozens of TDA-3 smoke machines during the offensive on the village of BELOGOROVKA. As a result, the entire line of combat contact was covered with a thick aerosol smokescreen, which allowed the Russian army to take control of about 8 strongholds of the armed forces of Ukraine and approach BELOGOROVKA at a distance of 7 kilometers. Let me remind you that Russian troops have never used such a large number of smoke machines for offensive operations before. These smoke machines were mainly used for defensive purposes, providing protection for strategically important military facilities located in the rear. However, the events near BELOGOROVKA showed that TDA-3 smoke machines can also be successfully used in offensive operations. As it turned out, a thick aerosol smokescreen prevents not only the flight of enemy FPV drones, but also artillery shells. Moreover, aerosol smokescreens have also proved to be an effective means against enemy missiles with an infrared homing head. As it turned out, high-tech missiles were helpless in the zone of a thick aerosol smokescreen and simply went blind. Well, as we can see, the war in Ukraine not only did not weaken the Russian army, but also made it much stronger. Unfortunately for the NATO leadership, the current conflict in Ukraine has shown the world the superiority of Russian troops. The fighting in Ukraine still shows that the Russian army not only learns from past mistakes, but also constantly improves its offensive capabilities, developing new effective tactics of warfare.